Alright, while Irene finishes working on her recap, I'll add the Miser house, or Miser, however it's pronounced, to the quest list. Let's see, that one's a London quest. Alright, so to recap things from my perspective, now that we have Irene's perspective, last time we had Irene staking out a bathroom, waiting for the foundation to close. After they closed, she snuck out and kind of cased the joint a bit. Primarily, she was interested in entering Gavigan's office, kind of rifling through things a bit, and seeing what she could find out. She inspected the safe and inspected the closets. She kind of checked out the hallways and some of the other offices a small bit. Um, and then there were some visitors that came. She got discovered. She did some fast talking and got herself out of there. The other group staked out Gavigan's flat. Not much activity was going on there. They waited into the evening. He appeared to come home. Lights turned on, and he never seemed to leave the building. They just kind of staked it out for a while. They decided there was nothing more to see, and they left and went home. And so this is where we pick up with Irene leaving the Foundation, making her way back to Barney's townhouse. It is late. They've been waiting for her to arrive. They've been out doing their own thing. Yeah, you did. We kind of left off with you kind of talking about what you found. And that was where we kind of finished up for the night, was with you guys wrapping up your evening and getting ready to head to bed. And so, I want everyone to give me a luck roll. Everyone failed. Everyone gets an improvement.
I needed that. Irene has the double luck thing. That's sweet.
Yeah, that's her talent. One of her talents. Okay, Kansas, you make it through a day, a night of rest without a whole lot of physical activity, and you heal yourself one more hit point worth of damage. As you slowly mend. And we'll resume the next morning. Everyone wakes up after a night of rest. The house staff has breakfast made again.
Yeah, does Kansas look like all black and blue?
He's pretty beat up, yeah. I mean, it's not like he got out of that thing without a scratch. I mean, that dude messed him
True.
up.
Hey, Kansas, you know how to find this guy? You wanna get some revenge after your liver heals up?
Ooh, nice. Friday the 13th. It's also a full moon tomorrow. In the real world. Not in this world. Or not in 1925.
All right, so you said trash day is tomorrow. So, guys, I still want to go pick up that guy's trash before the trash truck gets there. I know it's nasty and stuff, but you'd be amazed at what you could find digging through somebody's trash. So that's my plan for tomorrow. That or Kansas's funeral. I don't think Irene's told us about our guns yet, right?
I think she might have mentioned that when she got home last night.
Okay. I'll tap my gun and say, "You want to go see the murder room? I'll go see the murder room." Yeah, do we have permits or do we just have guns?
Just guns. No permits.
Nice.
They didn't think you Yanks were worth the trust in giving a permit to. When you say slips it into his coat, are you talking about the permit or are you talking about the pistol? Okay. So each of you on your character sheets in your inventory section, you can see little circles next to just to the right of the weight of each item. And that shows whether or not it's something that you're carrying or you have equipped. And so if you're carrying something, then be sure to mark that appropriately. That way we know what you have on you and what you don't. And I believe Irene also finally got herself a flashlight. Concealed. For sure.
How do you add another line to your inventory?
You just want to add a generic item, or you want to add something specific?
I'm supposed to have a flashlight on there. I don't see it. I think I might have backspaced it out to put the sword cane.
Okay.
I can just back out the sword cane, though. I'm not really using it.
Oh, if you have the sword cane, you want to be sure that it's on there. So,
Yeah.
you'll go to your inventory tab, just like Tabris said. Click on that little brown hash mark looking thing up in the top right hand corner. That'll put you into edit mode. Then you just click the plus, and it'll add a line.
Got it.
And you hit the hash mark again, and it'll close edit mode. Now, if it's something that is in a pre-generated inventory item, then all you have to do is just pull that up from your message of the day. 1920s equipment, travel, and weapons costs. Oh, never mind, that doesn't have links. That looks like that's just a chart. So never mind, that's just a cost chart. Anything that's an equipment item that has the little black box next to it showing that it's a link, you can, for equipment, you can just drag that over to your equipment list and it'll drop it in there. Like so. I just added the pin light to yours, Charles.
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, never mind. I think I may have just traded inventory items. Alright, so you sit around breakfast, you discuss again what you're going to plan on doing for the day. Let me reset the quests. You guys are all down at the Covington townhouse here. You don't know exactly where it is, but you know that Essex is a region, an area. You could certainly go out there and just kind of start asking around. Or you could try to do some other research prior. As far as a general idea, locate the map again. You know that general area is about 3 to 4 hours. Yeah, it'd be something like that. It's kind of an old estate. Oh, yep, you sure did. I completely missed your post. You get the feeling that going to the library would be more productive than going to the scoop, unless you're looking for uh, something unusual. You at least know that that's what he had written on the photograph. It may or may not be named that under public records, depending on if it was a nickname or if it was a proper name.
Did they have ice boxes and like ice makers back then?
Yeah. It wouldn't be
All
like
right,
what we have by today's standards, but you would
be
have
like the
had.
big block ice.
Right. Yeah, that would be the most common.
All right, I'm gonna go to the kitchen and get Kansas a big like towel of ice. I mean, part of me feels bad for you, and part of me feels good that someone's uglier than me for a change.
And this would have been the day where you have the milkman who brings your daily little crate of little milk jars and all that kind of stuff.
What do you say, Irene? You want to go add a little spice to your life? I mean, kind of boring. We haven't killed anybody or seen any monsters in a couple days.
Yeah, sweet outhouse. Nothing says I love you like an outhouse.
Maybe your agency can look up and see if they know any other addresses she's associated with. I'm all about this wiretap thing. Wow, it's time to do some good old-fashioned police work. Plus, if you haven't noticed, I could use a few donuts to put some meat on these bones. I don't know his name. It's the guy that we were staking out. I'm gonna go pick up his... Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna go dig to his trash.
Edward. That's on Saturday. Saturday's trash day.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
There's a lot of dirty laundry everywhere, it seems.
Alright, so
We got the...
as you guys discuss your tasks for the day, be sure and put your token on the appropriate quest. And if there isn't one that fits, let me know and we'll create it. But I think you should have one for pretty much every objective.
Oh, we don't have to. I mean, you could get your agency to wiretap a few different houses, and then we could do something else.
I'm not sure how wiretapping worked in the 1920s. 1920s phone tapping. Social history of wiretaps. Let's see, at the beginning of the 20th century, about 1 in 1,000 Americans had telephones, but by the 1920s, 1 in 100 had phones.
I think a business would be more likely.
Traditional copper wire phone line was access the phone wire and alligator clips attached to red and green wire speaker or tape recorder. So, with the support of the public in 1924, U.S. Attorney General Stone forbid the Justice Department from conducting wiretaps. The Treasury Department and the Bureau of Investigation resented Stone's policy, and both agencies continued to secretly employ wiretaps. So basically, it's just a simple matter of you hooking into the phone line and having some sort of device that you can either actively listen in or you could record. If you had a means of recording.
I wasn't thinking about us tapping them. I was thinking about you getting your friends to do it. Can't they call the phone company? Have one of your guys go in? Run some line? I mean, that's what they do, right? Or they just pass out nifty toys, which I'm not arguing. And I'm honestly not sure how it all works anyway, especially here.
Okay, so we have Kansas committed to investigating Miser, and Charles is investigating Empire Spices. Irene is also committing to the spice shop. And how about Barney? Alright, Irene has a secondary.
I got no plans. I can do anything you need me to, Irene. The only things I want to do is check the trash, and then next new moon, I want to see what's going on with that Black Pharaoh crazy pyramid stuff. I think we got a lot of good information to find out who's dancing under that dark moon.
Alright, so as you guys finalize your plans, gather up your belongings and prepare to head out, we will fade scene, and we're going to give a spotlight on group number 2. We're going to follow Kansas and Barney as they investigate, try to get information about what exactly is this thing called the Miser House. So, Barney, Kansas, what's going to be your destination? What's your what's going to be your primary means of looking into the Miser House? You have multiple different options, avenues that you can use to gather information. Okay, Irene, did you give a description of what the photograph looked like? So that Kansas would have some sort of idea. Okay, I want both of you to give me idea rolls to see how well you convey the information to each other. One for giving it, the other one for perceiving it. Okay, we'll just leave that as it is for now. Alright, you head to the library and you do some research. You're looking up Essex, you're looking up public records, newspaper articles, all kinds of various different things that you think might work that would give you information on what this place is and what exactly the deal is with it. Yes, go ahead and give me a library use roll. And Barney can as well. Barney's making Kansas look bad. Okay, Barney, you can check mark your library use if you haven't already. Uh, Making it a hard success would give you more information. But it all depends on what you want to do. Yeah, you can find out what you learn beforehand, and then you can decide if you want to spend luck to gain additional information. Alright, so as you research Essex in general, and trying to find information pertaining to the Miser house, let me see what you find out. Alright, you find out one, that a confirmation of what Kansas has already told you is that Miser means Egypt, or Misr. means Egypt in Arabic. The land and the mansion were formerly owned by an enthusiastic Egyptologist and also happened to be an occultist named Neville Lloyd Price. It is rumored that Lloyd Price went broke and was forced to sell the property and the land on which it stood. Neville Lloyd Price has not been seen for 9 years and has effectively disappeared from London society. Rumors suggest that he took to the bottle when he lost everything. That is all for your basic information. You would have picked that up in the newspapers. Different society gossip. You know, that would be articles that you find in some of your historical public newspapers and things of that nature. Now, you haven't done any kind of research into the public records. The library is not going to have any public records. You're going to have to go to another location to research that. You come across a book on historical houses. It's called Green's Estates of England. You locate a snippet of information that says that there was a mansion house named Longview, is mentioned in this book. It's situated on the Naze in Essex. The passage states it was built in the 16th century during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, and features a secret room used to hide Catholic priests during Elizabeth's religious purges. You're not sure whether or not this particular house out on the Naze in Essex may or may not be what you know as nowadays as the Miser House. Yeah, the Naze is basically a section within Essex. So Essex is your region. The Naze is a specific land feature within Essex. And then you have things that may reside within the Naze itself. But yes, Irene, she described to you, Barney, whenever she was describing the photo, she described that the landscape, that the different land features and things that she saw of the house kind of reminded her of the land features of the Naze. And for your basic information is kind of like a tangential information that you find out as part of your research. Because your research did kind of narrow down to specifically, right, I saw that you spent the 4 luck, which was why you got the information in that book concerning the Longview house. Whether it is or isn't the same place, you don't know until you do further research on that subject. But you got a little piece of information from a book there concerning this mansion house that is in the Naze, and the description of it does kind of seem similar to the description that Irene gave you from the photograph. Of course, it's kind of hard. A lot of houses could look the same depending on the architecture and when they were built and all that kind of stuff. But so could be, could not be the same place. But as part of your research, since you are kind of narrowing down on the Naze itself, common information that Barney may know, along with stuff that he finds in his research at the library, lets you know that the Naze is more properly called Walton on the Naze. During the Victoria era, Walton on the Naze rapidly grew in size and population as city dwellers discovered the delights of the seaside. With a fine beach and bracing air perfect for bathing, the town became a holiday destination, boasting one of the longest piers in the country. You note, as you're doing some research about the Naze and Walton on the Naze, which is a town, that there's a number of reasonably priced bed and breakfasts that are situated around the Marine Hotel. And then there's the hotel itself. Depending on the time of year, the seafront is either a bustling cavalcade of bright colors, milling promenaders and bathers, or it's wet, gray, and nearly empty. You would think that this time of year is probably the latter. It is not a very good time of the year for tourism at Walton on the Naze. You know that if you were to head out that way and do some research, hands-on, that Harwich is kind of in that direction. There's marshes at the edge of the North Sea. The Naze is a peninsula densely forested with swampy marshes, small islands that stretch out into the sea. Driving from central London would take about 3 to 4 hours, depending on the time of day. If you were to take the rail, it would take just over 2 hours from Liverpool Street Station to arrive in Colchester. And then a local train from Colchester to Walton on the Naze would take you about an hour or so from where you could potentially conduct some of your hands-on research out there. Walking is possible, but it would be obviously a lot bigger of a trip if you were walking, and you could potentially run the risk of getting lost, as you travel the different little roads and byways and stuff, in that area. All right, so that is what you find from your library research. This does take you a fair amount of time to conduct this research. It takes up most of your morning as you rummage through the various newspaper articles and books, within the library records. All right, now we will jump over to group number 2. We have Charles and Irene. You guys are heading to Empire Spices. Irene wants a second take at the spice shop. See if there's anything additional that she can find out. She has Charles with her as her backup instead of Barney this time around. So you guys travel into the area, Soho, and you find the familiar spice shop. Let me pull up the map one more time. Charles. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Wrong one. Charles and Irene. Release token scale. There we go. Lock token scale. Now you guys are the right size. Okay, what is going to be your approach? How are you going to handle your arrival here at Empire Spices? Are you going to try to stake the place out? Are you going to approach as customers to go buy something?
Irene, did they see you last time?
As you do a walk by, you think that the place is closed. Doesn't look like anyone's there. Okay, the streets, I mean, this is morning. And you guys get over here 9 o'clock in the morning or so. And so there is activity on the streets. Unlike whenever you over here at night, um, this is a bustling area with street traffic and vendors and shops and all kinds of various different things.
Gee, before we left here too, I would probably grab one extra Barney's extra jackets and a different hat. And I'm not trying to go full disguise, but I don't want to wear my normal.
Okay, that's reasonable. Give me a luck roll, Irene. Seems like the gate is locked. The front door of the place is locked. Okay, you're going to the front door of the shop, or are you going to the gate? Okay. I don't think you successfully picked this lock last time. So, no bonus dice. At least it's not dark. So, no penalty dice either. Of course, you have a flashlight now. Click.
Not too bad, Irene. You might be a spy after all. You got that blackjack ready? I'm gonna glance around the street and see if anyone's looking.
There's people on the street walking by. Give me just a general idea roll.
An intelligence.
Yes. Okay. You get the feeling that, people see you, but no, you're not like drawing attention, to anyone in particular. They just, you know, see you at the door. They see you walk up. You open it up, and assuming that you're
Okay.
just kind of walking through.
Before we go in, I act like I'm knocking. Just in case. That way it looks like somebody let us in.
Okay.
I'm not going to knock, though. All right. I open the door for Irene, but I use my coat, my sleeve of my jacket.
Okay. Basically, to keep your fingerprints off stuff.
Yeah. After we get inside, I go, Irene, probably should get some gloves.
It is winter. I mean, it's not cold winter by New York standards. It's warmer than New York was, but it is still winter. So gloves would not be unreasonable for you to have. I'm not talking about like big, huge, insulated mitts or anything like that, but just some standard leather gloves or knitted cotton, or wool gloves.
All right, we'll say since has a profession that he would have thought to bring some small gloves, if that's cool.
Yep, that's fine. As I said, this time of year, gloves are reasonable to be wearing. It's not like it's the middle of summer and you're wearing gloves. That would be a little conspicuous.
Irene, so you said there's some murder basement?
Okay, as you push the door open, ding, 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 has one of those little chime bell things hanging over the door that when you push it open, it kind of rings the bell.
Yeah, sure. No problem. I'm gonna walk through. I'm gonna have my hand in my coat pocket, but I'm not gonna draw my gun. I'm gonna have my hand on it though.
Okay.
Have you already been through all this place? You know the layout pretty good. I mean, I know you've been here. I just didn't know if you've been through the whole place.
It was dark when Irene was here. She was basically only using Barney's flashlight, and they were keeping it pretty subdued. So she would know the general layout of the house, but she probably didn't see everything in detail.
All right, you lead the way. I'll get you back.
Now, keep in mind, even though it's daytime now, that you're still in a house with limited windows and things of that nature. So it's still going to be dark in here unless you turn lights on. Which you can do, and it's not going to be as blatant as turning the lights on in a house in the middle of the night. Now, according to the hours on the door, the shop should be open. Did you lock the door back whenever you went through?
Yeah, we would. Do you want me to watch the front while you look around? You want to stick together?
No, it doesn't look like anything has been changed here. At least from what you can recall it looking like before. But it definitely doesn't look like someone is making attempts to move merchandise or close up shop. Okay, as you make sure that the shop is secured up, you ensure that the sign is flipped over on closed. Are you turning on any lights? In this front room, there's light coming in through the windows, through the front windows. So it's not dark in this room. Okay, go ahead and give me your listen check. You do not hear anything. Except for the sounds of the street outside.
All right, lead the way, Irene. When are you going to tell me a real name anyway? I'll take the lead. That's fine. You can't really hide behind me, though. Not if I turn sideways.
Although Irene has been here before, and she knows the layout, so tactically it would make a little more sense for Irene to lead the way since she kind of knows where she's going. But if
I'm
but
fine
if,
either way.
but if she's wanting to hold back and just let uh, Charles have his glory moment, then by all means she can do that as well.
I think she wants a meat shield.
Okay, so Charles, you see a door at the back end of the room. Uh, After you go, you have to go around all of these shelves and baskets and everything. This room does smell very strongly of spices. The aromas are very um, full in this room.
All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to approach this like a very military style. So I'm going to go to the southwest corner and basically do a spot on the room before I just blindly walk and see if there's anyone crouching or whatever. I'm going to do a whole sweep of this room before I proceed to the next one.
Okay.
And I'm going to be looking for anyone ducking and looking for anything like tripwires or traps or anything.
All right, so give me a spot hidden roll. Alright, Charles uses his FBI tactics to move around the room, trying to be as uh, vigilant as he can be. Now, in the process of doing this, are you also trying to be silent as well?
Yeah, we've been talking, so I mean, I would probably try to move forward. We've been talking here, though. I'd probably try to be quieter going to the next room.
Okay. So, you're just going to kind of move through this room naturally and casually, not necessarily trying to tiptoe and be all stealthy, then.
No, we've already made noise here.
Okay. It is assumed that you guys would be whispering, but obviously in a quiet room, even a whisper would potentially be audible. And so,
And the doorbell.
yeah, and exactly the doorbell, too. So you move around the room. You do not seem to spot any kind of hidden traps or booby traps, hidden monsters, or ninjas on the ceiling that are going to jump down on you, or anything else like that.
All right, Irene. Let's quiet it down as we move to the next room. Keep a lookout.
Maintain radio silence. Yeah, the spice baskets. It's like Indiana Jones. Alright, you move up to the door, and you prepare to go into the next room.
Alright, you want another spot?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. I assume the door is not locked. I'm gonna listen at the door before I open it.
Okay, go ahead and give me a listen check.
Rolling like Kansas.
Okay, you do not hear anything on the other side of the door. But let's see for your fumble. As you press your ear against the door, and you're trying to listen, you kind of bump into it, and you kind of thud your head into it a little bit. You know, you kind of misjudge the distance a little bit. You know, clank. You know, and you make a little bit of a thud on the door as you try to place your ear up to it to listen.
Alright, I try to pass it off nonchalantly and open the door and go forward.
Okay. And as you move into this area, see, this is looks like some sort of a cupboard, kitchen, table kind of a thing in the middle of the floor here. There's some sacks kind of stacked up against the wall. There's some stairs that look like they go up off to the left. The room extends on, you know, straight ahead past the table. Looks like a preparation table where you know, maybe some spices are chopped up and things are prepared and all that, you know, sort of stuff. There is also a door off to the far left near the stairwell.
Irene, watch those steps while I clear the rest of the floor. I think, I don't want anybody sneaking up behind us.
There's a door off to the right as well. Give me another stealth roll. As you move through this room, assuming that you're going to try to be stealthy.
Finally. I'm gonna go listen at the door to the right.
Okay. What are you doing for lighting? Because there are no windows in this area. So it is going to be dark.
I've got my flashlight.
Or at least very dim. You got your flashlight?
Yeah.
Okay. There is a switch on the wall. You could turn a light on, if you wished.
I'll just stick to the flashlight for now. Like FBI style with the gun out and the flashlight over it.
Okay,
And I'll go listen at the door to the right.
fair enough. As you move away from the front of the house, the sound of the crowds that you hear out on the street subsides, and everything becomes very still and very quiet inside the place.
All right, I don't hear nothing. I'm gonna check this room out.
Irene, are you trying to be stealthy as you move around the room as well? Okay, Irene just simply moves over to the stairwell and she's going to... Or are you going to stay put where you're at and just cover the stairwell? Okay, got it. You do have those sacks and everything kind of up against the wall there. You can kind of hunch down behind those as well. Okay, Charles, you move through the door into what appears to be some sort of an office.
All right, I'll sweep around the desk and check under it and stuff before I start looking at anything else.
Okay, you actually trying to find hidden things, or are you just looking at things in general?
I'm doing a sweep first to see if there's any people in here.
Okay, no people.
All right, before I start searching anything, I go to Irene and I say, let's finish sweeping the house and then we'll come back to... There's an office in here, unless you want to take a quick look. We might not have enough time to look at everything, so...
I think Irene is content to stay right here and cover you as you conduct your sweep through the rest of the lower floor.
All right, I'll do that before I start snooping any in depth. I'm just going to go room to room.
Okay.
And then when I know the floor is good, I'll come back to the office, depending on whatever else I found. Or actually, we'll clear the whole place first.
Okay, you move down. It looks like there's a small window in the back door. It looks like this leads outside. There's just a little bit of light coming in through this back door. And you've got two doors on either side.
Is the back door locked?
It does appear to be locked.
Okay, I'm going to leave it locked. All right, I'm going to go to the door to the right, listen to it again.
And
I pop my ears. I grab my nose and pop my ears.
You do not hear anything coming from this room.
All right, is that a checkbox or no?
This isn't really a... you're not in imminent danger, so I'm going to say no.
Okay.
You enter into this room, and it looks to be some sort of a storage room. With that extreme success, you can just stop rolling.
Wow. Okay, cool. How about two of them?
Yeah. You've... I don't want you to to run out of these extreme successes whenever you need them most. So you better save them.
Okay.
All right, so you go into this next room, and this room appears to be a kitchen. There's a stove, there's a sink, there's a little table, um, what looks to be like a fireplace. That's what you're standing next to right now.
Is there a fence around back?
Are you going to peek out the back door?
Is there a window? There's a window, right? I'm gonna look through the
There's
window.
a very small window. Imagine, it's one of those exterior windows that has just kind of like a 9x6, kind of a little stained glass kind of peephole window, kind of a thing in it. And so, it's not very big.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stay inside since it's broad daylight.
Okay.
Irene, I think I'm gonna go next to Irene and say, I think this floor is good. And you want to go up or down?
I'll say that with the extreme successes, that you can hear stuff outside of the building. There's enough ambient noise where, due to your extreme success, you are picking up ambient uh, activity and stuff like that, but you do not hear anything within the building itself.
Okay, so the building's clear.
At least from what you can hear.
Okay, well, I don't know if I can hear or I can't, so we're gonna keep going through. If you want to speed it up, that's fine.
No. I'm just letting you know that it's not like it's deaf silence. You are hearing stuff, but it's not coming from this floor. It's coming from outside the building. You're hearing cars
Sure.
passing by, horns honking, people talking, that sort of stuff. But because of your extreme success, you can discern that it is not coming from inside the building. It's coming from outside.
This place is quiet, Irene. Let's finish sweeping through and then see if we can find anything good. You want to go up or down? All right, sounds good. Or if you want to, you can wait here. Yeah, if you hear any gunshots, come running, because mine's silenced.
Okay,
I'll be back in a minute.
Irene's staying on the main floor.
Yeah, she can listen up if anyone comes in.
Okay, Charles moves upstairs. Charles, give me just a singular uh, spot hidden roll and a singular move silent or sneak roll for this entire area.
I'm doing awesome.
Okay, so Charles is feeling a little bit overconfident because he's feeling like, the place is fairly empty. It's not showing any signs of activity, so he's kind of lets his guard down a little bit as he moves across the the upper floor. Irene, you can hear his footsteps on the boards, of the upstairs room. You can hear the creaks and the taps and everything else. In fact, we probably have something, kind of like that as he's moving around the house looking through stuff. You do not spot anything where there's any signs of activity. There's no people up here. However, you also do not notice anything that might be out of plain sight. It just looks like a general apartment. Nothing really catches your eye as you're walking around looking up here. Place seems to be empty, and there's no signs of activity.
All right, are these bedrooms on the right, or what are those?
So, as you look into each room, you've got obviously the bathroom. You've got what looks to be like a master bedroom suite with a really nice bed in it. Kind of a lounge chair and a table and an armoire and dresser and nightstand and things of that nature. That's down in the southeast. Down in the southwest, you've got what looks to be like some sort of a lounge. There are some curios, knickknacks. There's a big mirror that's on kind of like a swivel stand. There's a curio cabinet with different Egyptian-looking kind of figurines in it, and there's a desk in here. In the central eastern room, looks like another bedroom, not as fancy as the other one. Looks like maybe a secondary bedroom, guest bedroom, or something of that nature. And then the room up at the northeast looks to be like some sort of a spare room where there's some stuff stored in there. There's some crates and there's some cardboard boxes. It looks like one of the crates is broken apart, and the stuff that was inside the crate, the stuffing and stuff, has kind of been pulled out a little bit.
All right, I'll look inside the crate, the desk, and the armoire. I'll check those three places real quick, and then I'll go relieve Irene so she can come take a look.
Okay. So, are you going to pop open some crates, or are you just looking at the one that's
I'm gonna
already...
look in the open one first and see if there's any.
Okay. Looks like just generic stuff. I mean, it's not anything that looks, if anything, it looks like curios and artifacts and things of that nature. Decorations. It looks like ethnic, Egyptian-related kind of decorations.
All right, I'll go look into the desk.
The desk is locked.
I got some lockpicks.
You didn't lock it back, did you, Irene? I mean, you did lock it back, correct? Or did you? I mean, you did take stuff out of it, so I mean, it's pretty obvious. Okay. So the desk is locked.
I don't know if she picked it, so I'm gonna reach down and pick it. No, I'm not.
That was a listen check, not a lockpick check.
Wrong one. I'm not a very good lockpick. Oh well.
Okay, you try to pick the lock a little bit, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be very easy for you to pick it open.
All right. I'm gonna go back down to where Irene is and say, all right, the floor is clear up there, but there's a lock up there. You might want to take a crack at, or maybe you want to take a look around. I'll watch this floor if you want to go take a look. Oh. Okay. Well, that would have been good to know.
Okay, Irene, you go up and you said you did lock it back, obviously. So even if you didn't, it is locked. And so you're going to have to unlock it if you want to try and get it, check into it again. But you get a bonus die since you've already picked it. Let's see, what was the difficulty on this one? It is a hard roll. So, as you fiddle with it, you're having a little bit of difficulty getting it open back up again. You could spend some more time working at it if you wanted to. You could just bypass it. You're not sure why it's giving you so much difficulty. It doesn't look like anything has been messed with in this room. Everything is kind of as you left it. Give me a idea roll. See if you can recall if anything is out of place. It looks like everything. Actually, there are some things that are just slightly out of place. It's not exactly how you left it. It looks like some of the stuffing has been pulled out a little bit more, than how you left it before. It looks like things have been moved around a bit more. Okay, while you are upstairs, don't come downstairs just yet. You're upstairs rummaging around. Charles, give me a
Yep.
listen check.
Dude, that's awesome.
You hear something. It sounds like the sound of shattering glass, almost. Kind of like a pop and a tinkle of glass.
From up or down or where?
It's kind of muffled sounding. It almost sounds like it came from that door over to your left.
All right, and that door was the kitchen.
You don't know
Did
what
that kitchen have an
you don't know what that
exterior
door
door?
is. You've not been through that
Oh,
door
down
yet.
to the left. Oh, the one going down.
Mm-hmm. And over in the far, down off to the left of where you're standing right now. Mm-hmm.
This one.
Yep, that's kind of where the sound like it was coming from.
Well, that's a pickle. I can't really yell up. I'm gonna creep up to the top of the stairs and be like, "Hey, I hear something. Come from downstairs."
You notice that this door, that there's a chair kind of wedged in front of it, or some of those sacks. Some of those sacks are stacked up in front of the door, and there's something, and it looks like it's kind of wedged, in front of that door where the door can't open.
Okay, well, I'm going up to the top and saying, "Hey, something made a sound like glass breaking that door."
Okay, Irene, give me a listen check. See if you can hear him whispering, or if he's going to have to raise his voice to get you to hear him. Yeah, Irene is too busy. She's engrossed in looking through everything, and Charles doesn't hear her respond to him.
All right, I'll walk into there further and get her.
Okay. You think you can hear her up towards the north end of the structure. It sounds like she's kind of rummaging through some stuff.
Hey, I think somebody's downstairs, but that door is blocked. Come on. We either gotta check it out or get out of here.
No, all there was the coal chute.
Is there a basement exit? Well, maybe somebody's been locked down there. Maybe we need to get them out. Somebody's barricaded in there. Maybe it's another sacrifice. So we check it out. It could be somebody in trouble. That could be my family. Mom! Maybe my accent, disguising my voice is a little better than. I look around. Is there any cloth or anything I could cover my face up with?
Oh, I mean, there's cloth sacks down here. There's, give me a luck roll. See if there's some loose pieces of cloth that are just right. You don't find anything just laying around, just readily available to pick up, but there's certainly plenty of things around that are made of cloth that you could kind of cut some strips of cloth from.
No, I'm not gonna try to leave a footprint. I mean, it's pretty dark in here, and if I'm shining a flashlight, then no one's gonna be able to see my face anyway. So, let's see. All right, Irene, get my back on here. I'll go and see what's going on here. I've seen too much weird shit though, to not be careful. All right, I'm gonna try to quietly scoot stuff away from the door and see if it opens.
Okay, give me a stealth roll since you're trying to do it quietly. If you want to take extra time with it and you want to do it very slowly, then I'll give you a bonus die.
I already rolled. I'm not a meta gamer.
Okay.
If you want me to, I'll do it. Yeah.
It depends on if you would have done it just normally or if you would have taken like extra precaution to be really
How much extra time would it be?
I mean, it's just moving stuff, slower and more precisely than what you would normally. But it's going to take, another couple minutes, because you're moving a little more slowly and cautiously.
To avoid tentacles, I think that would be wise.
Okay. So just roll an extra d6. I'm sorry, a d10. Okay, so that turns it into a 56. 56 is still a fail.
Okay.
So you're moving stuff. You think you're trying to be as quiet as you can. You're not making an extreme amount of noise, and you eventually get the door uncovered.
He's actually pretty nervous right now. All right, after I clear the door, I'm gonna give it a second and see if it opens.
It does not.
All right, I look back at Irene and say, "All right, I'm gonna open this door and I'm gonna step back. Anything jumps out, be ready." All right, I open the door and I step back.
Okay. Nothing happens. The door kind of comes open.
Ah, fuck me.
It is
All right, I'm gonna.
completely dark down in the basement. You do see a light switch.
All right, I'm shining my light.
Yeah, you have your.
I'm shining my light down the steps.
You have your flashlight. It's pitch black down there. There's no, ambient, light from any kind of windows or anything like that. And you do see that there's kind of a light switch right there on the side of the stairwell.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip the switch.
Nothing happens.
I mean, there's no windows down here. I'm gonna turn the lights on.
Nothing happens.
It's too creepy for me. The lights don't come on?
No.
Figures. All right, I'm gonna shine the light down and look for any tripwires or anything going down the steps.
Okay, you look around with your flashlight, and you do not. Or give me a spot hidden roll.
I still had that bonus die selected. Hold on. I'm rolling horrible. Alright, looks good to me. I'm gonna head down.
Okay, you go down the stairs. Give me a stealth roll. If you're trying to be stealthy. If you're not, if you're just moving down, tactically, then no need for a stealth. But if you're like taking caution as you're moving one step at a time and just trying to be stealthy about it, then give me a stealth roll.
I will. I might be at a disadvantage though because I've got a light.
True. I mean,
But I'll try anyway.
You could be trying to subdue your light a little bit too. I mean, by like holding your hand over it. Speaking of which, is your pistol still in your pocket? Are you nervous enough where you're pulling it out?
I've got the gun out and I've got the light over it, like SWAT style.
Okay.
And I'm more concerned about seeing something coming than something seeing me, so I'm not going to try to hide it too much. Okay. So if you're cool with that, I'll just do a stealth with a penalty.
You don't even have to roll stealth. I mean, if you're just moving down tactically, but not trying to keep yourself hidden, then there's no point in rolling stealth.
Alright, sounds good. I'm going down tactically.
Being cautious, being precise, but not necessarily trying to stay hidden.
Yeah, ducking, ready to jump out the way.
You move
I don't know if it's
into the basement,
so
shining your light around, and there's an open door off to your right-hand side. There's some stuff that is kind of stacked around the door. Looks like it's been pushed to the side. And as you peek inside this room, you have a grisly sight in front of you. Looks like some sort of an altar, some sort of a secret room in here. As you shine your flashlight in there briefly, you shine your flashlight to your left, and you see a big furnace. It's rather cool down here. The furnace seems like it's no longer going. And so it is relatively cool. You realize now that it was a little chilly in the room upstairs too. You really didn't notice it too much because you have on your gloves and your coat and all of that stuff. But down here in the basement, you notice that there is a definite chill in the basement, and you notice there's no glow coming from the furnace, but you do see piles of coal on the floor, and you just kind of shine your light around the room, and you don't really see anything immediately. Give me a Okay, you got a hard success on your spot hidden. Very good. You notice that there's some shattered glass laying on the floor, and you shine your light up above where that shattered glass is, and you see a broken light bulb.
Irene, stay up by that other door. I don't want to get shut down here. I'll scream if I need you.
And one more thing. As you're down here, let me pull up the description of this room here real quick. So, this room, brick-walled cellar, dark, dirty, featureless, coal, lying around. There's a shovel, a coal bucket. There is something that looks kind of some boxes that are kind of stacked up underneath the coal chute. There is off in this room to the side, there's black candles in a ring. There's a statue, a figure of some sort of Egyptian-looking kind of a thing that is kind of black ebony kind of looking. There's a block of wood, roughly about 2 feet square. Seems to have this sickly, pasty-looking blackish goo kind of flowing down over it, that is not actively moist or anything like that, but it looks like something blackish has been spilt over it in the past. Lying on top of the block is a gnarled, old-looking kind of a club. It's covered in the same kind of dark stains as the wood block, and it has a big black metal spike kind of poking out through it.
Does it look like old dried blood? Does it smell like decaying blood? I mean, what does it smell like? Does it look like human body parts?
You would think that it's probably the look of dried blood. You've seen enough crime scenes in the FBI and people's blood and stuff like that it does seem like that. It seems like this was some sort of a kill room or something, some sacrificial chamber of some sort. Now, as you look over into this room, and you're kind of looking around to your left, to your right. Are you actually going in there?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a sweep.
Okay. You had smelt just a fringe, just a little bit of a burning kind of a smell. Almost, you had almost kind of dismissed it as something that maybe was coming from the furnace, even though it wasn't actively lit, that maybe it was the smell of soot or something of that nature. But you notice now that it's more of a odor of burning hair, and it seems to be particularly strong, now that you've moved into the southern room.
Is that like a fire pit to the south, or is that like a circle?
No, that's the circle of candles. They're not lit, but there's black candles kind of in a circle around the statue of this figure that kind of looks like Egyptian pharaoh, looking kind of a dude.
All right, I'm gonna check the chop table see if there's like any rings or jewelry. I'll check the furnace and see if there's any like anything that would identify any remains, like a wallet or a wedding ring or anything.
Okay. Are you going to do like a detailed... Oh, wait a minute, you were moving to the north? What were you checking now? I thought you were...
I was gonna check the chop table, and then I was gonna check the furnace after that.
Okay, go
And then also the circle.
Go ahead and
See if there's
move over.
anything in the circle.
Go ahead and move over to the chop table and stuff. And so you're checking
Okay.
out this room. And I need to check on one thing here real quick. I need my bookmark. Okay, here we go. All right, Charles, as you are investigating this block, this putrid, burning, kind of burnt hair, decay kind of a smell just becomes nearly overwhelming. I mean, it seems like you are just right on top of it. Of course, that would make sense since you're right here, this chopping block with the dried blood and the brain matter or little bits of tissue and whatever else that might be here. But you notice yourself almost kind of choking a little bit. It almost seems like the air is being taken away from you, or just that you don't have the ability to breathe, almost like something is kind of smothering you, something's kind of clogging up your nostrils. In fact, it almost seems as if...
Hey, G, your audio, I don't know if you've been talking for a while, your audio I think went out, or my audio went out. I just heard the last few.
Okay, yeah, I have been talking. Are the rest of you guys hearing me okay?
Okay, we've got storms in the area. That's probably what was going on. But the last thing I heard was something clogged on my nostril.
Yes. So as you move up to, did you hear the intense smell and that it becomes overpowering as you move up to this block?
No, just the faint, and then I moved to the block.
Okay, so as you're moving to the block, the smell of this decay and this burning flesh, putrid kind of a sensation just becomes very strong and overwhelming, which you just kind of naturally dismiss as being the decay coming from this block that you are inspecting. Since this is kind of like the kill block and it has bits of body matter and dried blood and all that kind of stuff on it. But as you move up to it, it becomes more. It's not just the nausea or a strong smell or anything like that. It almost feels like you're suffocating. It feels like your breath is being taken away from you, like something is wrapped around your head, around your face, and you can't breathe. And as you focus in on the feeling a little bit more, it almost feels like something that's kind of forcing its way into your lungs, and you can kind of feel some pressure on your nose, and and some pressure in your throat and everything, almost as if it feels like something is like cotton has been stuffed into your nose or something like that.
All right, I'm backing away from that table. I'm gonna go kick over that statue too.
Okay, take 1 damage. And give me a sanity roll. With 2 bonus dice. This is more of like a panic kind of a thing, more than that you actually see something that is making you insane. Okay, very nice. So your training comes in and you're able to maintain your composure and you don't panic, and you're keeping your wits about you, despite the fact that you feel like you're being suffocated and you're not able to breathe. Now, go ahead and explain to me what it was you were doing. You were trying to back off.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my coat sleeve over my mouth. I'm gonna keep my gun and my flashlight up, so it's really like my wrist and forearm in front of my mouth. I'm gonna back up, and then I'm feeling a little creeped out with that statue over there, so I'm gonna go kick those candles over and then kick that statue over.
Okay.
Just because I feel like super creeped out by it.
As you try to move, you find that you can't move. It's almost like you're being held, and then it comes to you, and then you realize that it's not just a sensation of pressure. There is actually something that is in your nose and something that is in your mouth, something insubstantial that you can't see, and it is holding you. And as you try to pull away, you notice that you can move your body, but your head is not moving. It's staying where it's at. You can't pull away from this. You shine your light, and give me a spot hidden roll with a bonus die. Okay, what you see just very briefly, just momentarily, as you sweep your light across the area, in front of you, because you're trying to see what this is. You see kind of a sparkling gray cloud within thin whip-like tentacles. It's almost like as if wispy tentacles of smoke that are kind of a little sparkly, or in the light. You can just barely discern these.
Is it attached to anything, or free floating, or coming from anything?
It's just kind of in front of you. You can't really tell exactly where it's at. It has no substance, no form. It doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like a figure standing in front of you with, its hands reaching out and grabbing you or anything like that. It's just kind of looks like a cloud, just a fog cloud almost, with these wispy tendril, kind of tentacle tendrils that are kind of wisping out from the fog cloud.
I mean, I don't really know what to do, so I'm gonna do what my training would do, and I'm gonna try to shoot it.
Okay. Yeah, you find yourself, as you're trying to yell out, you really can't yell out. Because it's stuffed into your mouth, into your nose. As you try to yell, it's like coming out as a muffled kind of a thing. You can't really get any verbalization going, but
Okay.
Irene definitely will hear gunshots.
I don't know how good the suppressors were back then. All right, I'm going to pull out
Oh,
my
that's right.
gun
That's
if I
right. It
can and try to
is. It
shoot.
is suppressed. Oh yes, this is gonna be good for you. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see how suppressed it is.
Sure. All right, I'm going to try to pop 2 caps in it.
Okay. Okay, your first shot just goes wild as you're kind of now the panic has kind of set in on you a little bit, and your first shot kind of goes wild, and then you kind of regain your composure a little bit, and you bring in your second shot, and you're pretty sure that you have hit this thing, but it certainly does not do anything. I mean, you're you see your bullet hit the wall on the other side of the room, and you see like a poof of stone or some flecks, come off from the stone as your bullet hits it. But your bullet seems to just go through this insubstantial smoke like it's nothing, you know.
I can do 3 shots around. Can I swing my last shot and try to shoot the statue?
Sure. I think I can't remember if it's this game or if it's Traveler that your shots are supposed to be like within a certain arc, but I'm gonna say that you can just. I mean, it's right there. You can just spin your gun to. You're gonna be shooting kind of blind on this one though because you're not able to turn your head to look at it.
Okay. You want me to re-roll the penalty?
Just roll an extra d20. I mean d10. And that'll be a penalty die. So it'll be that's a 6.
Still good.
That's a 70. So you would have still hit. It's just not a good hit or anything like that. You hear the thud of your bullet hit the statue, but it doesn't seem to do anything either. The whatever this is that has you, it still has you. And at this point, we're actually going to enter into combat. Into initiative.
Okay, my daughter is flopping around too. She's not up yet, but if I disappear, that's what happened.
Okay, Irene. He shot 3 shots. Give me a listen check with a penalty die due to the suppressor.
Did she get 3 chances or 1?
Just 1.
Oh, that's good.
She would have normally have gotten 2 penalty dice, but because you shot more than 1 shot, she got a bonus die, and with a net of only 1 penalty.
Cool.
Okay, so Irene, you hear something from downstairs at the top of the stairs. You can hear. It's an automatic that he has, and so you hear just you didn't really hear the first shot because you weren't expecting it, but you heard something. You couldn't really identify what it was, but then when the second one comes, you know for certain when the second one comes that you're listening to the slide move on a suppressed pistol, and you can hear the shattering of the bullet, as it hits the wall, and you can hear just the very faint suppressed pop of the 32 caliber round as it exits the muzzle. Of course, it is highly suppressed, but Irene is able to discern these sounds. Irene hollers out, "Charles!" And she hears nothing. She runs down to the bottom of the stairs, and she can see a light kind of flashing around a little bit. And that lets her know that Charles is kind of in the southern room. You know, because she can see his flashlight kind of waving around and kind of strobing a little bit in there. Irene, you're shining your flashlight on Charles, or are you just shining it into the room, looking around? Okay, you kind of scan your flashlight around the room, and give me a spot hidden roll with a penalty die. Okay, you shine your flashlight around the room, and you do not see anything in the room. You see Charles, though, and he looks like he has a look of panic on his face. His face is kind of white. He almost looks like he's choking on something. He's flashing his light around, and he's going. It looks like he's trying to yell something, but he just can't get anything out. He's mumbling, muttering a lot, and directly in front of him, he's already fired his 3 shots. So by the time you get down here, he's not shooting anymore, and so. But he is shining his flashlight in front of him, and because he is shining his flashlight, you see just this very faint, wispy fog in front of him. If it would have been anything else, you would have just thought it was the London fog, or that it was just a puff of smoke or something like that. But there's this fog cloud in front of him, and there's like these smoky tendrils that are extending out from this fog cloud, and these tendrils are kind of enveloping his face. They're going up into his nose, they're going into his mouth, and no, it's going to be its turn.
I liked it better when it didn't say unidentified creature.
Okay, as Irene stands there, and since his light is illuminating on it, she was just kind of flashing her light around the room, just kind of getting a general idea. She wasn't focusing on anything specific. But once she sees Charles's flashlight focus on this thing and she spots it, her flashlight moves over to illuminate the thing as well. And because she has it illuminated, she can see that some of the smoky tendrils are starting to extend out, and they're kind of floating across the room in her direction. Okay, At this point, now, because both of you have actually spotted this thing, I want both of you to give me a sanity roll.
Didn't I make a sanity roll already, or do you want me to do another one?
You did one with a bunch of bonus dice to see whether or not you panicked, basically. But now
Okay.
you are actually seeing it now. You are seeing this thing, insubstantial smoke that is grabbing you. It is not natural. You know that this is not something of this world, you know, nothing that you've, and so so now this is time for the real sanity check for how you respond to seeing things that should not be seen. Okay, a success gives you 1 sanity loss. So Charles, you will lose 1 sanity. For Irene, since she failed, give me a 1d10. Oh, nice. Okay, give me a intellect roll. Yeah, you are flipping out. Okay, you have seen this thing, your mind has processed it, and you know exactly what it is that you're dealing with is not something that should be here. You know, this is something very unnatural, and it is freaking you out, and your mind fully comprehends what's going on. What? Oh, because I have it selected, so it's saying that, so I'm not seeing the actual result. So Bouts of Madness, real time, the result was 8. Okay, so it's physical hysterics or emotional outbursts. The investigator is incapacitated from laughing, crying, screaming, etc. for 1d10 rounds. Okay, so that is how Irene is affected. And of course, reduce your sanity by 5 points. its tendrils are moving out to you. Let's see. Okay, this is round 2. And for its attack on Charles, since it has Charles, you take 2 damage.
Okay, I'm at 6.
Okay.
Might be the first casualty.
Now give me just a second here to look and see. Yeah, okay. So the tendrils are moving out towards Irene. There's 2 of them. 3 tendrils have a hold of Charles. 2 tendrils are moving towards Irene, and they reach out for her. Irene, the only thing, you do actually see these coming in, so these aren't automatic hits like there were with Charles, because you can see it coming since you have the flashlight shining on it. You have the opportunity to dodge. I'm going to say yes. You would still defend yourself even though you're kind of in hysterics. Okay, one of the tendrils gets a hold of you, and it works its way into your mouth. And Irene feels herself starting to kind of choke a little bit. And as you do, you take 1 point of damage. Okay, Charles, it is now your go.
Alright, so I can move my body but not my head, is that correct?
You're essentially entangled or grappled at this point. And so you've seen that your shots are doing nothing to it whatsoever. You can try to rip yourself loose from this.
I am going to try to tackle it so Irene can escape. Okay. I don't know she's flipping.
Okay. She's kind of... What was your response? You were laughing uncontrollably, right?
Oh. That might be a hint.
Okay, so she seemed like she was just kind of like flipping out. I mean, Irene was just like started laughing uncontrollably. She like had this crazy ass laugh that was going on, almost like she thought it was like she saw a magic act or a clown or something like that. You know, she was just doing this crazy, you know, just hysterical, unexpected, you know, kind of a reaction. Um, you would not realize that she suffered from insanity, you know, at that particular point. Uh, you would just, I mean, you have your own issues. You're being choked out, and so you're kind of panicking a little bit yourself at the same time. But then you notice that the tendrils are going towards her, and then her laughing kind of gets choked off a little bit as one of the tendrils, you know, moves into her mouth and is moving to grab a hold of her and to try to choke her the same way that you are.
All right, I'm still gonna try to tackle it. My thought process is here is it's doing something to both of us, so I'm gonna at least try to prevent it from getting her. So I'm gonna, instead of pulling away, I'm gonna run right into it and try to pull it away from Irene.
Okay. You're going to need to, as you try to move against it, you feel like, I mean, you can reach out for it, but if you're wanting to try to actually tackle it, you know, to move up to it and just to like leap onto it, then that's going to require a strength roll to try to overcome it holding you in place.
Okay.
Very nice. Hard success. Let's see how that helps you.
I'm like, basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pull the tentacles, like trying to, like, imagine the tentacles around us. I'm reaching up, trying to grab the tentacles and like just yank them. If I can even grab them. I don't know if they're substantial enough to.
Okay. Alright, so it has 3 tentacles on you, so it's an opposed strength check. And it is 25 strength per tentacle, so he is rolling at a 75. Okay, so he has a success, but you got a hard success. So you successfully pull away from
Action Jackson wrestling a tentacle monster. He might get the girl after all.
Okay, so it's not so much that you are overpowering this thing, as it is that in the process of trying to get to it, you pull the tentacles free from yourself, and you're able to kind of free yourself of the grasp of the tentacles. As you reach out to grab it, you kind of feel the thickness, the moistness of the air. It's almost like a insubstantial substantiality. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's your hands pass through it, but it does have a thin substance to it, almost like a mist, a water, a concentrated vapor type of a thing. And so, but you don't actually do anything to hurt it. You can't grab a hold of it or anything of that nature, but you can pull away from it, which is what you just demonstrated was possible to do whenever you moved to try to counterattack the thing. And as you do, as you pull away from it, the tentacles they slide free from your mouth and your nose as you kind of rip yourself loose in the effort to try to bum rush this thing. And suddenly the air, runs into your lungs, into your nostrils and your mouth, and you're finally able to speak now as you take in this rasping breath of air. Uh, it's the most beautiful thing that you've ever felt, being free from this horror of suffocation. And now
Run, Irene!
you are free to yell out now that you are free of this thing.
Do I have any movement?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start moving toward Irene.
Yeah, Irene definitely sounds like like I said, she was laughing, but then as this tentacle moves down her throat, she's like starting to gag, on it. And, she's no longer laughing anymore. She's trying to laugh, but she's not being very effective with it. And you do have an opportunity to move. And so you move to the door, but the tentacles are kind of stretching out into the doorway, and you're going to have to kind of go through the tentacles a little bit as they're reaching out to grab a hold of Irene as well. Irene, it is now your go. You take you took your 1 point of damage already. You feel yourself kind of being suffocated as this tentacle kind of forces its way down your throat as you're in the middle of laughing uncontrollably. And then your senses kind of come back to you again, and you kind of wonder what in the world got into yourself. You kind of weren't yourself for a moment, and the panic kind of sets in that you realize that you're suffocating, and this thing is forcing its way down your throat. It's not so much down your throat as it is down your windpipe. It's moving into your lungs, choking you out. You can try to pull out. You saw Charles pulling away from it, and he took in a breath of air. He yelled out to you, "Run!" So only one tentacle has you. So right now it's strength 25 to hold on to you. So you can make a opposed strength roll. Oh, very nice. And it fails because it only had 25 strength, and so you successfully yank back away from this thing. As you yank yourself loose, the tentacle, you can feel it slide out of your again, it doesn't really have a substantial, it's not like a physical tentacle, but more of like a moist air, kind of like you're in a sauna, kind of a substantial mist, that you felt, a fullness feeling. But you rip yourself loose of that. You can feel it slither out of your lungs and out of your mouth. Yeah, you can definitely go for the stairs. You can make it to the top of the stairs. Alright. And now it gets to go. Alright, it has 6 tentacles in total, all of which are free right now. And so it is going to attack.
Damn, I stopped for Irene. Oh, at least I can go down.
Oh, it's rolling like crap. Holy cow, I can't believe these rolls.
I intimidated it, man. I bitch slapped it. I was like, get out of here.
Oh, out of 6 attacks, all of them are failing. This is
It's scared of me.
Finally. Alright.
I'm dodging. I should fight back. Wouldn't that be epic? No way I can make that though.
There's just really nothing to fight back against.
Bitch smack. That'd be so funny though. Just bitch smack the tentacle. Like, I ain't afraid of you. But I'm gonna dodge. So a hard success goes to the dodger, right?
That goes to the on dodges. Tie goes to the defender.
Yeah, on the way out, I say, "Yeah, fuck that," and then I run up the steps.
All right, so you also make it. Its turn is over. It's now your turn, and you run to the top of the stairs. At this point, we're going to be out of initiative, as long as you guys are leaving the basement. So yeah, we'll exit initiative here. Alright, you make it to the top of the stairs, you close the door, you barricade it back up. You're like, screw this crap. Are you guys going to stay here and search the place? Or are you getting out of Dodge?
Have you checked that desk in there yet? The last time you were here? Is this place gas? Like the kitchen, or is it like a wood stove?
No, it's everything is all fireplace and coal based. Furnaces.
I think we should burn this place to the ground. Either that or we wait for the other person to, or we come back and get the other person, kidnap them, torture them until we find out what we need to. But yeah, we need to get the hell out of here.
As you linger here in front of the door talking about whether or not the desk has been broken into and you know what you want to do and all that kind of stuff, you can kind of see, because your flat shining, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. I'm going to say that you're shining your flashlights kind of at the door because you're wanting to make sure that something isn't coming after you. You start to notice a sparkly, misty kind of a tendril kind of creep out from underneath the door and through the things that you have stacked up around it.
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Alright, we're leaving.
So at this point, you guys are leaving the facilities.
Yeah, let's go out the back.
Back door or front door? Yeah, but it's locked from the inside. So, I mean, you can easily flip the deadbolt.
Yeah, I'm heading out the back. I just started running that way already.
Alright, you go out the back, you open up the door, and you find yourself in kind of like a courtyard. Irene, you're going out the front, so you guys are splitting up.
Yeah, we just scatter like cockroaches.
Okay, Irene, you go out the front door. Of course it's locked. You're going to have to unlock it, and you go out. Are you going to make any effort to lock it back from the outside? Or are you just leaving the place as fast as you can? Okay, you kind of leave the place. Are you making any effort to make yourself look nonchalant, or are you like leaving in a panic where it's going to draw attention? What is your state of mind, I should say? Okay, give me an acting roll. See how well you suppress your fear. Yeah, you're not doing a very good job of suppressing it. So even though you're trying to control yourself, you're kind of in a definite, obvious panicked state as you leave the place, and you're kind of fumbling around a bit, and you're hurrying away from the door in a controlled, fast walk. You notice some people you bump into a few people as you're like rushing to get away from the front door and leave the place, and they're like, "Hey, watch it, watch yourself, lady." And they're kind of staring at you, wondering what you're on, if you're high on something or whatever. Charles, you get out into the back courtyard. There's a bunch of junk, some broken crates, various different things laying around the back here. You can catch kind of a little bit of a putrid whiff coming from off to the left. And this place is an entirely enclosed back courtyard. The walls are about 8 foot tall, 7 foot tall. You could try to leap over the walls, or there's a door over to the right hand side that you can head out that door.
Is there a crate there? What is that?
Yeah, it's just kind of like a crate or a piece of refuse of some sort.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go see if that door is locked. I'll just walk over to it and try to go out that door.
Okay, it has a latch on it, and you can unlatch it from the inside. And
yeah, no reason to be complicated.
And you move out into what looks to be like a narrow alleyway, and this narrow alleyway extends down to the south. You race down that alleyway. Now, of course, since you took the long way around, Irene is well out of the area by the time you get to this gate. The gate appears to be latched. It has kind of like a locking latch on it. You can try to scale the gate, or you can try to bust it open, or you can try to unlock it.
I've got a silenced pistol. I'm gonna shoot the lock. I think the secret's out by now.
Okay. So give me a it's an easy target. You don't even have to roll. You hit it, but give me a damage roll for it.
I don't see it on my sheet anymore.
Let's see where it went to. Right up at the top. 0.32 automatic suppressed. Oh, I bet it's because you had it carried and not equipped. Whenever I marked it as being equipped, did it put it in your...
I gotcha.
No, it's still not in your ranged. Huh. What is up with that? I don't know why it's not in your...
What's the damage on it?
It is 1d8. I need to figure out why it's not showing up on your...
I also don't have a D8 in my that I can roll on the bottom.
You don't have a d8 in that string of dice?
Oh yeah, I do. It looked like a D8. I don't know if there's any bonuses or just a D8, but
No, just a d8. And so you shoot the lock, but it kind of puts a little bit of it does some damage to it, but it does not do anything to unlatch it. And so it is effectively ineffective.
All right, jump in the fence. I'll climb on that crate or whatever to give me a boost.
Well, there's no crate here.
Oh, outside. Okay, I'll just try to scale it.
They did cover that on Mythbusters, that shooting a lock does not do jack squat to it.
Now I know.
Can't use that source. But reality still holds true. Alright. So, give me a climb check, and as you try to scale this thing.
That's so funny.
You
Mundane
up,
skills get you every time.
You jump up and you're trying to get a hold of it and pull yourself up, but you just don't have the gusto. Yeah, an artillery piece might be more effective. Or a breaching shotgun might be more effective. But it needs to be a specialty weapon like that, not just your standard old pistol.
Is there anything that I can climb on to give me a boost?
You could kind of like try to wedge your feet, into the corner, and kind of like Spider-Man it, use the walls on each side of you to kind of help to scale yourself up a little bit. There's no point in drawing this out. Essentially, you are having a tough time at it since you didn't successfully make your first roll, but you do eventually get up and over the fence, but you look like a clown doing it. So you do get out, you plop over the fence, but you come crashing on the other side. You land, on the street because you are completely ungraceful as you do it, and you are drawing a ton of attention. And as people are looking at you, and in fact, give me a sleight of hand roll. Yeah, in your panic to get away and rushing and all that stuff, you forgot that you still have the pistol in your hand. You just shot the lock, you tried to climb up over it and everything, and you never actually holstered your pistol. So you come crashing down. You try to parkour over this gate. You don't get a very good grip because you have your pistol in your hand. You're only using one hand effectively, and you come crashing down onto the sidewalk, and you've got this suppressed 32 in your hand that it kind of
Look like an assassin.
It's an open sight, as you come crashing down onto the sidewalk, and people, like, startled, they back away from you, and you might hear some ladies kind of gasp and scream a little bit, and oh, look, that man, he has a gun. Oh, they're all panicking a little bit.
I flash my badge and I put my finger up to my mouth like, shut up, but I don't say anything because I don't want my voice to identify me. So I'll hold up my badge and I put my finger to my lip.
Okay.
And then I turn back toward.
Are you making any effort to, like, obscure that it's like FBI, or anything like that? Or
I figure I'm far enough. But yeah, I'll put like a finger over the FBI and hold the badge up. But I figure I'm far enough away. I'm just flashing it.
Okay.
I'm not like, hey, look at this.
Trying
I'm just
to
like,
make yourself look. Give me even though it's not really fast talk, I think that fast talk would be the most appropriate thing for this. Or no, acting. Yeah, acting I think would be more appropriate. You're trying to put forth a persona that may or may not be true.
All right, I don't have acting as a skill, and I've got a 7 in fast talk.
Okay, go ahead and do a fast talk then.
All right, do I get a bonus die for the badge?
No. You're just completely.
This should be good.
You're completely winging it here. Oh, so
close.
close.
Come on. You should give that to me. I'm gonna spend 3 luck.
Yeah, why does it say 5 luck?
Because I rolled electric repair. It was next to fast talk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, keep your roll, but you said it's a 7.
Yeah, I'll spend 3 luck.
That makes it a success, but you won't be able to check mark it by spending luck on it. But it does make it a success. So you feel like you have basically, as you flash your badge, the people kind of seem to calm down a little bit more. They kind of believe that you're an official person who's supposed to be here and have a gun now. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not any more hesitant to be around you, because this is kind of a scary situation. Guns, they're not as comfortable.
I make shooing motions like there's danger here, but I still don't talk. I put my finger to my lip and I'm like shooing them away, and I'm pointing toward the building. Like there's.
Okay, so they kind of clear out a little bit. You don't know if it's because of the danger, or if it's because you're making them nervous, but they do clear the area, and they seem to obey your motions, your commands. You notice Irene off to the side. Irene, you notice Charles making a complete ass of himself out in the on the sidewalk as he comes tumbling over the fence, and he tries to recover a little bit, and he's trying to make himself look all official, or maybe he's just genuinely concerned about the populace, and he doesn't want them being choked out by the fog monster if it decides to come after you guys. But either way, you see Charles out on the sidewalk, kind of making a little bit of a bumbling idiot of himself and trying to recover from it. What is your response going to be? All right, so Irene moves away. Charles manages to move away from the scene. You guys meet up uh, a few blocks down, and you try to make sure that you've not drawn any more attention to yourselves than what is reasonable. And once you feel like you're not being watched, that no one's attention is drawn to you or anything like that, you get together to discuss the frantic antics that have just transpired.
I hope it's a bomber. This is some crazy shit. I mean, every time we turn around a corner, there's something. What the hell was that? Does your organization know about this stuff? Like, do you know what that is? If you got some secrets, you tell us. Start talking.
Okay, Charles, I got your pistol to show up on your ranged weapons section. You just had to make sure that you had it equipped. And that's why it wasn't showing up. So if it's the little bag symbol, you're carrying it. If it's the little shirt symbol, it means that you actually have it equipped for use.
Okay, got it. What do you mean, main entity? You know a lot more about this than you're talking. I think it's time to come clean. I say we kidnap the person who lives here, we torture the fuck out of him until he spills the beans, and we burn this place to the ground. You got a better plan? You think your organization knows anything about this? I'm thinking Molotov cocktails. You think your organization deals with this stuff? Is that who you guys are, or what? Are you just you into this paranormal stuff? Or are you just into, like, counter terrorism? I mean, it's like studying these things. Is that what you do? I know your team locked down the Peru pyramid pretty good. Fine, fine. If I don't have to deal with it, even better. But soon as your side starts sharing information a little more with my side, I think that's better for everybody. Just saying, like some crazy Egyptian with a knife. There's some weird stuff going on. Speaking of, we might want to pull them into this organization. That new moon's coming up soon. We could surround that whole place. We find out where it's at and just bring them all in for questioning. I ain't much for torture, but I am ready. Yeah, that's fine. I need a drink.
Okay, are you going to look for the nearest location that you can use a phone, or are you going to try and go someplace secure?
I don't want to get drunk. I just want a sip of something. Let's go make a phone call. Charles is like looking around everywhere. He's like very nervous now. He's like looking at people are following him. If that smoke monster's coming out, like it rattled him.
I mean, are you considering a phone booth secure? Someplace where you can go and you can kind of close yourself into a phone booth? Or, so yeah, I mean, a secure location would be like going back to Barney's or going to your facilities themselves. Those are going to be your most secure, options. Maybe going to a police station, something of that nature. That's funny. Okay, you look for a phone booth, and you find one. In this day and age, there's not going to be a phone booth on every corner, but uh, you can find a few of them placed sporadically around, and there's one that you can get to, in the area. Charles kind of stands guard at the phone booth door as you make your phone call. Ajax Warehouse and Supply, how can I help you? Okay. Give me a persuasion roll. I'll give you a bonus die since you're um, in that field. You know that's kind of your um, what you're known for. You know, you're known for these weird things. Okay. You feel like you've successfully made your point to your people and that they've taken you seriously and they tell you they'll get right on it. What is it exactly that you dealt with? That this thing here in London, is this a danger to the populace? Is there a chance that it might get free, that it might multiply? And you've created a fair amount of concern um, all to go with your warning. Bring flamethrowers. Okay. All right. You. What kind of time frame are you? What's the urgency on this? Like they need to get on this immediately, or um, within the next day, kind of a thing. All right. So, uh, significant urgency to it. High priority. Okay. Is Irene going to make any attempt to secure the area herself before anyone else arrives on scene? I mean, not necessarily that there's anything that she could do about it, but just to keep an eye on the place to make sure that no one goes in there to just be there as a precaution to lend aid if the thing does come out onto the street and start attacking people or anything like that. Just wonder if it was like you're washing your hands of it and you're letting them secure it, or if you're going to go back and just make sure that things stay secure until the response team arrives. Okay, Charles, what is your um, response going to be? Are you hanging with Irene and assisting her?
Yeah, this is her territory. We're in her country, so I'm kind of just listening over. And I'm like, when she says, and bring strong flashlights, I'm like, flashlights? Bring fire. Molotov cocktails. Tell them Molotov cocktails. He's like being the guy in the back of the phone.
The side seat driver.
Yeah. He's like, don't play around with this thing, burn it.
Okay, Irene and Charles head back to the shop to just run surveillance, um, not really causing a scene, not cordoning off the place, but just making sure that nothing happens in the interim while you're waiting on the response team. Okay, we're going to go back to Kansas and Barney at this point. Kansas and Barney, you guys are conducting your library research, and really, in all actuality, you would probably still be conducting your library research while all of this is happening because it didn't really take very much time for them to do their quick little casing of the joint and run into this trouble. But they are going to be here for a little while waiting on the response team to arrive and make sure the place is secure. So they're going to be tied up for a while. So once you guys are done with your library research, you get your leads on the Miser house, then what are you going to do? Are you going to do that now, or are you going to try to round up everyone as a group and head out there? By the time you're done with your library research, since you got a fairly early start in the morning, we're going to say it's around noon. You know, by the time you kind of wrap up your research and you get the idea of going to go check the local records in Essex. So you could head out there, do some research, and drive back, and you'd be here in the the evening. Be a nice little afternoon trip. It would definitely fill up your the entire time frame for the afternoon if you were to do that. Okay, driving in Barney's car. Okay, you guys take his car and you have a nice little uh, Friday stroll out into the countryside. You travel out of London to the northeast, and as you travel into the wilderness into the countryside, um, the houses, uh, subside, the businesses subside. You're in the rolling hills of of Essex countryside, and you pass into what's called the Naze. Becomes kind of a foresty, marshy, swampy kind of ground. Not like Louisiana type swamp, um, but still, marshy nonetheless. And you head out to Walton on the Naze, or Harwich, actually. Harwich is more of the seat of government, and so that's where all the records for the local area would be at. Barney would know that the local paperwork and land ownership records and stuff like that would reside in the archives of Chelmsford Council. It's the county seat for Essex. I have both of you give me a research roll with a bonus die, since you kind of have very specific and detailed leads to work off of. Okay, Kansas. With Barney's assistance, him kind of working the bureaucracy aspects and the government aspects of London, of England, and you kind of doing the research aspect and tying the pieces together. The two of you successfully pull up records and do a little bit of digging into the history of the land records and everything for the area. And you come across a couple familiar names that you found in your previous research. One of which being the Misser House, and the other one being the Longview. And you find that they are actually the same place. It's just that there was a land transfer of over 6,000 acres that was transferred to Edward Gavigan in 1915. Prior to Edward Gavigan getting it, it was of course called the Misser House whenever Lloyd Price owned it, but the previous owner prior to Lloyd Price was another individual, and it was called Longview at that point. You notice that there's looks like some subleasing kind of arrangements. There's some contracts that are basically drawn up that looks like much of the surrounding land, part of that 6,000 acres that was purchased by Edward Gavigan, is subletted out to individual farmers and local tenants and things like that who care for the land and make a living off of it, and um, it's not just a uh, walled in, fenced in 6,000 areas. It does look like he has you know um, rented it out to other people. You find that it is fairly remote. It is kind of in a hard to reach backwoods, if you would, kind of an area that probably doesn't get a whole lot of traffic. I mean, you have to be specifically wanting to go there to go there. There's no major thoroughfares or anything like that that's going to take people past it. It's a fairly secluded piece of property. And so after conducting your research, you're just kind of finding your leads that you need whenever it's time um, for the records branch to close down for the day, and they kind of shoo you out. Um, you have some time to kind of linger in the area if you wish to talk to locals, or you can leave and you can head back to London. With your failure, you are not going to find any pictures or any um, maps or anything like that, Barney. Yes, you know where it's at. At least roughly. I mean, you don't have GPS. You do have maps, but uh, the accuracy of the maps may or may not be completely accurate. The maps that you got for the property are more of a um, plot maps. It's showing um, the dimensions of the property, landmarks that are um, demarking the property lines. So there's a big difference between a road map versus uh, a property assessor's map. And so, at this place, you would have seen a property assessor's map that would have shown you the property lines and kind of, um, you know, that aspect of it. But you can take the information from that and you can transfer it over to a road map and kind of have a rough idea of where it's at. Okay, it looks like there's a road that leads up to the outer border of the estate. Uh, According to um, it probably wouldn't be detailed enough to show like fences and gates and stuff like that, but it does show a road, uh, leading into the property line. that leads through the um, through the grounds and up to the actual house itself. Let's see. Looking for. Once you're through the road that leads onto the property, it looks like the road just kind of splits and it kind of winds and it goes different ways throughout the property itself. And then, of course, there is the road, that leads up to the house itself. You also notice from looking at the property maps that you would be able to access the house from the backside via boat. Because this is kind of a swampy island, kind of an area. The house looks like it's actually kind of on an island, and you would be able to access it from a boat if you knew the ways through the marshes. Now, the marshes are going to be an ever-changing landscape, and so that might be a little trickier to navigate your way through. All right, it is 11:30, which is and we're at a good place for stopping as you guys kind of wrap up your research in the Essex area. You head back. It is evening by the time you get back to London, and you head back to Barney's house. Irene, for you and Charles, just a real quick summary of what happens through the afternoon. It takes a couple hours, but you do eventually have a response team that comes. It's not a big to do. Obviously, they want to keep this very hush hush and very quiet. There's just a couple individuals. They kind of make it look official, like a normal thing that's not going to concern the populace. They bring in some road repair signs. They put up just so they don't put uh, the 1920s equivalent of police tape across the building. That might start freaking people out concerning them and everything. They just put up like some wet concrete signs and some road barricade, kind of things to divert traffic around, and no plastic hazmat stuff. Um, I don't even know if something like that exists. I mean, World War One would have seen gas masks, um, but I highly doubt there's a. I mean, if anything, there was a rubberized suit, rubberized canvas. It would have been very heavy and wouldn't be anything like today's level of hazmat. Um, so, but yes, they come in with some stuff, and the first step is just to cordon off the area and make it where the public is not around, because they don't want the public seeing people coming in with, these rubber suits and raising alarm or anything like that. They want to keep it on the lowdown. And so once they secure the area, is Irene going to hang out and for the investigation of the building, or is she going to leave? Once the place is secure and it looks like it's under control.
I'm gonna try to memorize faces while I'm there. And also see if they're using any kind of special equipment, like if we notice anything, like if they're prepared for this, like if they learn what we can.
And you told them to bring torches or some sort of a flamethrower, kind of. Okay. So, if you're going into the house with them, I'm going to summarize what happens. So, they go into the house. They're kind of searching through the place, make a sweep. Everything kind of seems normal at first. They go down into the basement where you report that the thing was at. And they kind of freak out whenever they see what they see there. But they do have flashlights, and this thing is there. It tries to attack them. It is. The flashlights are actually assisting them in being able to spot and identify their gas masks they have do keep it from being able to attack them as effectively. Gives them a significant defense against it. It doesn't seem like anything that they're doing is able to harm it. You are staying significantly to the back to where you're not up in it and being threatened, but you can still kind of get flashes of what's transpiring. You see them unleash the incendiary devices, and whenever they do, it seems as if the thing goes away. It disappears. I mean, it doesn't die. There's no residual activity. There's no body. There's no sign of anything remaining. But it goes away. It's gone. There's no explanation for it. There's no I better make some sanity rolls for these guys too. Oh, nice. Okay, these are like hardcore cleanup unit guys apparently, and they keep their crap together. They don't freak out whenever this thing is trying to attack them. And
this smoke monster is probably getting its feelings hurt by now. It's been denied so many times.
yeah. And but the end result is that it dissipates. It goes away. You don't know if it just disappeared, if it went away, if it went someplace and it's going to come back. You don't know if they killed it. It's just gone. It seems like the place is secure. It's safe now. They tell you, okay, we have it from here. Good job. Agent. Would they call you Agent Ward? Or would they call you something else?
I might overhear it. Can I make a luck roll? It's really crappy. I got an 18. It's probably not going to happen.
Give me. I'm gonna have you make 2 rolls. One will be a luck roll to see if you're even in the area at the time that they say it, and then a perception roll to see whether or not you can hear it.
I wasn't around.
Okay, so you weren't around, and and so they tell you they have it covered. You're dismissed. Good job. File your report, and um, and have a good night. And so you guys,
was pretty close. Was close.
You guys leave. It's evening by the time you get the place secured and wrapped up. You head back to Barney's place. You probably get there a little bit before Barney. Since they had the long drive back from Essex after doing their stuff out there, but you guys get back in the late afternoon, early evening. You have some time to share notes and to actually have dinner together and everything else. You're not dragging in at the wee hours of the night, and the house staff confers with Barney, and he has them prepare dinner for everyone. And so you all sit around the dining table and have an evening meal as you discuss events. And we're going to leave that discussion for later because we are creeping up on midnight. And so we'll save the discussion of what happened with your groups, and we'll resume with our dinner table discussion next time.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, hope you had fun with your monster experience. Could have been a lot nastier, but you guys managed to get away from it.
Yeah, I thought it was the first death of the campaign of all players.
I am not actively recruiting for more people. So we have the one guy who said he was interested. I've not really heard anything from him about making any attempts at creating his character. I'm just going with the 4 substantial, standard, diehard investigators that we've always had, and we got our tight little group here. If some more people come along and they ask me to join, then I'll take them in, but I'm not going to chase people down.
Hoping some doc finds us. We definitely need a doc.
Yeah, let me know if you guys have anyone that you personally know from other groups who are interested, and then we can invite them to the group. All right, well, everyone have a good night, a good week, and I will see you next Thursday.
Later.